Welcome to A Guide to Every Deck in EDH. Today we're looking at a background commander, Vhal Candlekeep Researcher plus Raised by Giants. So the Raised by Giants part is not necessarily what's important. We're mainly looking at Vhal Candlekeep Researcher. This is a 4 mana 2/3 with Vigilance, and it says tap added amount of colorless mana equal to Vhal Candlekeep Researcher's toughness, which is by default 3. This mana can't be spent to cast spells from your hand. So spells from somewhere besides our hand, like in exile or activated abilities, is going to be mainly what we're using this on. There's a bunch of combos with Vhal. Raised by Giants just turns our commander into a 10/10, so it's a way to have, from the command zone, a way to just increase Vhal. And a lot of her combos involve having her toughness be higher than her base toughness, so 4 or 5 is usually the sweet spot. So to discuss those combos, we have basically anything that untaps Vhal. So Staff of Domination, for example, untaps a creature for 3 and then untaps Staff of Domination for 1. So as long as we can produce 5, so if Vhal's toughness is 5, we can do this infinitely, netting 1 mana each time, and then Staff of Domination can draw our deck. Same thing with Umbral Mantle. It untaps for 3 and pumps itself. So as long as we can do that once, or we just have an initial way of pumping Vhal's toughness, this can be a way to make Vhal infinitely huge and have infinite mana for activated abilities. Similarly, Walking Ballista has the ability to put a counter on it, and then we can remove those counters. So all we got to do is play a Ballista for 2, and then as long as we can generate infinite activated ability mana off of Vhal, Ballista will kill opponents. And then we have some of the other combos. So Prophet of Distortion also can just draw our whole deck. And then there's the other ones that involve colored mana. So Freed from the Real can enchant Vhal, and then we untap, but it costs blue to untap. Same thing with Galvanic Alchemist. We Soul Bond, then it costs blue to untap. And then Pemin's Aura, similarly, blue to untap. So if we only produce colorless, how do we make blue? Well, we've got Energy Refractor, Stonework Pack Beast, and Urn of Godfire. These are all artifacts that allow us to convert the colorless mana from Vhal into colored mana, and more importantly, colored mana that can be spent on anything. And those can also go infinite with Freed, Galvanic, and Pemin's Aura. And then we also have Brain Freeze here because if we have any way of continuously playing spells, we can just use Brain Freeze to kill our opponents in that regard as well. So a whole bunch of different combos here that we can use, all of which involve, or at least most of which involve, getting Vhal up to a higher toughness. So what else are we going to be doing in our deck? Well, we have Reality Chip and Fortune Teller's Talents as ways of casting spells off the top of our deck. Obviously, the mana is not restricted to top spells of the deck. It's only restricted from paying for cards from our hand. So these are really good additions to the deck. We've got our suite of counter spells. We've got a little bit of fast mana and haste specifically. We don't want to have to wait to tap Vhal. We want to be able to tap immediately. Pretty straightforward lands, not too much to see here, with the exception of Hashep Oasis as a land that can pump Vhal. We also have Okina as another way of pumping Vhal. Again, we just want to get Vhal up to a higher toughness. And lastly, we have Centaur Garden as yet another way of doing that. And of course, Bridgeworks Battle as our modal land to do the same. We got Protection because we don't want Vhal to get killed or countered. So this is all various ways of doing that. Also, incidentally, Guardian Augmenter makes Vhal 5 toughness just by being in play. So that's another benefit there. We have our other forms of pump. So Mutagenic Growth is free. We can also have Seal of Strength, which can just be on the battlefield ahead of time. And then finally, Shape of Sands is only 1 mana to give plus 0/5, so a lot more toughness. Most of the combos, again, only require Vhal to have like 5 toughness roundabout, but this is just another way of getting even more. Then we've got a bunch of ramp spells, less than usual, but still a lot. Some removal, Spike Rift for the sweepers, and then a bunch of tutors, because again, a lot of these combos involve either creatures or artifacts, so a bunch of combo tutor pieces that grab those. And then ultimately, I decided not to run Sword of the Paw Runes. This would have been another card that combos with Vhal, but I felt like we had enough, and this was the least efficient among the cards that could do it. So speaking of the tutors, that's also why we've diversified these filterers. So obviously the best filter is Energy Refractor because it draws a card. However, Urn of Godfire is tutorable off of Urza Saga due to its mana value, and I wanted at least one creature that could do the same so that our creature tutors could find the Pack Beast as one of those cards. It's the similar reason why we're diversifying in other ways. So for example, Staff of Domination is an artifact that can draw our whole deck, but Prophet of Distortion is a creature that can draw our whole deck. That way we always have at least one card defined based on our various tutors. So if we have a combo and then we're missing one of these cards and we've got like Court of Calling in our hand, we can go find Prophet of Distortion. But if we have not Court of Calling, but we've got Fabricate, we can go find Staff of Domination. So it was important to diversify our combo pieces so that any of our tutors could find the missing piece. And as previously mentioned, Raised by Giants isn't strictly speaking necessary For our combo, it could have been another background. There's even another green background that adds counters to our commander, so that could have caused our commander to just enter as a 3/4. But ultimately, I decided Raised by Giants was probably the best version of it. And so with all that said, that is going to do it for Vhal Candlekeep Researcher in EDH.